I always find challenging to explain about scales. Scales, as we geometrically speak about it, is an area that is relatively larger or smaller compared to something else. So I can have a series of cubes, one small cubes and larger cubes and larger and larger and larger and smaller and smaller and smaller. And creation used the same exact model infinitely. So there are infinitely larger cubes and infinite small cubes, no ending. And you are located in a strength and a string, if I can put it that way, of either a cube or a triangle or a circle, just to say something that define the geometry of how you are wired. So imagine infinite amount of circles, infinite amounts of triangles, infinite amount of cubes, infinite amount of tetrahedrons, and all that you inhabit, and your essence itself is in one of those containers. So let's say we are in the container of the human form, who has certain way of perceiving things and is evolving and perceiving itself and the world differently. And the moment that you move your perception to a larger way, you immediately move to a different scale. And in that scale, you have a frequency. You have a modulation of waves that determine not only the type of perception, but determine how you grow, in what field you grow, in what you are expanding, and what you're becoming longer, and what you are occupying fully that circle or that square or that cube. So when you have grow up into that scale, immediately a growth pain comes into place, and that's are the places of transition. We say, okay, I have complete that kind of perception, and then you will manifest that point of transition by offering yourself a challenge. Could be health challenge, a financial challenge, relationship challenge. And in that, then you say, okay, what is it that I am indicating to myself? What is it that I'm telling myself? And what is it you're telling yourself is move to the next scale. And in the beginning, when you enter the next scale, it seems so big, so confused. How do I start? How this work? What are the terms? What is it I am really perceiving? So all these initial questions, like when you first go into school, comes into through time and the practices that you decide to operate in that scale. So we are eternally moving to larger scale. That's one thing. The second thing is we don't abandon or forget the smaller scale. Where we coming from? We're still in the same thread of same line of cubes or pyramids or tetrahedron, etc. It's just that the more we move this, I can say that it's very much related to the DNA that you're holding in vibration, that is becoming more and more complex, but is also built in the smallest simple equations that you have lived, that you have become. And the prana moves through this line of scales. And those scales are also holographic, meaning that they're all mimicking self. They all contain themselves. So the seed of the smallest cube have the potential to be the larger cube, but it won't lose its fundamental structure. So when you are aware that you cannot hold or be or pretend to always remain in one scale, you are in the human scale 3D dimension with challenges to go into the 4th dimension, to have a different view of perception where you are not victim anymore of the outside circumstances, but you are realizing that I make my reality, I am responsible, I am the co-creator of the whole. That is the mentality and the perception of the 4th dimension, that responsibility. So it's very tangible. And you are inevitable in one scale, and you inevitable are invited over and over to fulfill the scale that you are in and to move into the next one. That is the game of learning. That is the game of life. This is what is the cosmic agenda. There's no right or wrong. It's just the common denominator is learn, display what you have learned, and grow, move to the next stage. So that's what is living on scales, planetary scale, personal scales. Hope this is helpful to know a little bit of contemplation, inviting you a contemplation, say, in what scales you are. Are you starting a larger scale, or are you finishing one scale, or you are in a small scale, trapped in there in circles, creating pain and discomforts and dissatisfaction. See you in our next class. Namaste.
Call my number, call my number.